what my upload and download is.
I'm sorry. That was me again.
And it's telling me my responsiveness is low. So if I were to go out of this little room that I'm in right now, my speed would jump considerably. But anyway, it's just a simple way. I know at times we all want to check our network quality, and now they have built this literally into the terminal to be able to do this. I know for sure it's in Monterey. I just don't know if it's in previous systems. So anyway, it's just network quality, all one word. And if you do that, you can run that in your terminal, and it will let you know what you're getting right now on your network. So it's just a handy little thing that I thought, it's just sometimes I would use other things like speed test and other stuff, but I can just open my terminal and type in network quality, and that's what you get from that. So I thought that's kind of just a cool little thing. Might be handy for you guys if, I don't know, maybe not, but somebody, by the way, if somebody's not using Monterey, I'd be curious if somebody tries that on an older system and see if that works. So if somebody does
Hey,
that.
Glenn, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you know if that's the speed at the device or at the network?
I am presuming, well, I shouldn't even presume. You know what? I'm going to leave that as an I don't know.
Okay.
I can only presume, but it probably would take a little. I'm sure if we research that, we might be able to find that out.
Well, Glenn, if you just move to a place in your house with a better connection, run it again. If you get a difference, then we'll know that it's at the device.
Okay. Bear with me for a minute. That's amazing. I can walk a different way and I still have a snowy window behind me. How about that? Although it's funny that the lightness or darkness on me changes. All right, let's try this again now. I'm somewhere else and we'll see what I get. Hold on, I got to go back to my terminal here. All right, I'll share it with you guys.
Went down.
Yeah, holy cow. I'm 2 feet from a router right now. I don't know what's going on here at my house. There we go.
Hi, Ming.
Although it's still giving me kind of a low rating. Usually I'm at worst medium, but
Well,
although
actually,
it can't
your
be,
download is good.
what's that?
Your download looks good. 115.
Yeah. Although I'm sometimes over 200, so I don't know what's going on here tonight. I mean, I will say this, I get my internet through Charter, and I find that I have to call Charter every few months, it seems like, and complain about my, just getting lag or getting little blips where we get knocked off for 10 seconds. And then they do well, first they tell me there's nothing wrong. And after I badger them for a while and I get them to, mess around with it a little bit, then I end up getting them to improve things for a while. So it's really annoying that I have to keep going back to them all the time. So anyway, I went to a different room and therefore I got a different result. So maybe that tells us something to answer your question, Grant.
Well, it looks like it's your device speed, what the speed at delivered at your device. Yeah. Thanks.
So anyway, let me kind of go and set my computer back down here and I continue.
We lost a participant.
What's that?
We lost somebody. We lost a participant.
Yeah, Helen Friedman.
Yeah.
Tell you what, one thing I've got to grab a cable so I can share. I forgot to grab my cable here. I need to share my phone for the next thing. Somebody have a Q&A while I go grab a cable or something. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. Sorry.
I wanted to tell the group that I'm doing an experiment with air tags just to be more familiar with how I be warned if someone is using it to stalk me. And so I and Tammy each have our own iCloud accounts, and I turned off all my Bluetooth, and so that my phones aren't perceived as being near my AirTags. And we're just seeing how it goes for Tammy to detect it. I'm stalking her with my AirTags. And so, so far, periodically the tags seem to make their little chirping sound, which is not very audible. But I thought after a certain number of hours, Tammy was supposed to actually get a notification warning on her phone that there's a strange AirTag near her, and we haven't seen that.
My phone is at iOS 14.8 at the moment.
That's new enough that it should work.
Have any of you seen, ever experimented with and seen the warning that could be a stalker?
I've read about it. I've not actually encountered it.
Just on the news. That
Or
might-
even done a test, a controlled test to simulate a stalker like I'm trying to do here?
They
I
ran.
just read an article today about that issue, but.
The Today Show did a story yesterday. It was 10 minutes long about AirTags being used to track other people for nefarious reasons.
Yeah, car thieves. If you had people were finding these tags on their cars, and if they had a expensive car, a desirable car, somebody planted an AirTag on it so they could track where the car could be found.
That's the issue, to how we're trying to figure out, how do we know that sooner rather than later, that somebody put an AirTag on their car? It takes so long for even the chirp warning to come through, which we wouldn't even hear in our car.
Right.
But even that issue aside, it takes hours or longer. Along with, you'd get home with somebody else's AirTag stalking you before you would even find out that it happened.
Oh, yeah.
Tell them about the Bluetooth app. We have a family member who's still using iOS 12 because they got an old phone that can't take any newer.
And that there is a Bluetooth app that seems to just detect all the Bluetooth devices nearby, including AirTags, but it don't identify them as such. And therefore, a person would have to, if they suspected something, like take their car to apply where it's found, and excessive signal.
Your audio is coming, Terry, your audio is coming through your phone and your computer. You gotta turn the other off.
I don't even have one device in this meeting.
Okay, I have to mute you. Glenn, you want to go back?
I couldn't hear that, right?
Glenn, did you find your cable for your iPhone?
Oh, Glenn.
Yeah, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was wondering if that was me causing that problem there.
I don't know who it was.
Well, let me see if I can speak again without the problem coming back. The app I was referring to is called CZBLE Control. It stands for Bluetooth Low Energy Control, and I'll type it in the chat also. But that app will show the nearby signals and how strong they are. But the catch is that it don't really tell you what the devices are. And so if you don't have hardly any Bluetooth devices with you and you see something extra, you could suspect a possibility, but you really have to be careful in your thinking as to whether or not there could be other legitimate Bluetooth near you or not.
So in the chat is the name of the app of the iOS app.
It's a free app.
Okay, Glenn, you want to take us through the rest of your?
Yeah, I was just worried when I plugged my iPhone in that I was getting
Yeah, it might have been you. We'll have to watch that tonight. If you use an iPhone connected to your computer, you might have to mute the computer's audio or the iPhone's, one or the other. Otherwise, we get that feedback.
Yeah, I'm just plugging in. I just plugged in and was just going to share, but I may have to.
Well, right now
Well,
it sounds fine, but
Yeah, I wasn't using a second Zoom connection. I was literally plugged in. So I'm going to try it now. We'll see what happens. Okay, can you guys all see my phone there?
Yes.
Okay, so what I wanted to share with you, kind of a cool thing in iOS 14 is that you can control text size for your whole system or on an app by app basis. And I think that's kind of neat. So the first thing, if you want to do this, the easiest thing to do is go to Control Center. And I don't know if you guys can see on the very bottom, there is, for lack of a better word, an app. It's a little text size app. Can you guys see that at the very bottom?
yeah,
It's
the A's.
little
Partly cut
A's.
off.
You're not able to see it?
It's
I'm
partly
able to
cut
see it.
off.
Okay.
I see it. I see it full screen.
Oh, now I can see
I
it.
can see it.
Okay. It's a little AA. Hold on here. Am I getting feedback?
Yeah, somewhat.
I don't know why that's starting to happen.
Hey, Glenn, can you just turn the volume down on your phone?
Well, I didn't think I.
Glenn, you're muted now.
Do we have feedback here?
Not at the moment.
It starts doing it. It's weird. So I'll try to go through quickly. All right. So if you add that button, that text size button to Control Center, you can control the text size in your apps or on your whole system. If you want to add to Control Center, by the way, a button, you just go into your settings, you go down to Control Center, and then they have a list of things that you can add. And so I just added the text size one there. Okay, so going back here, when I hit that button, it now is allowing me to control my text size. You will notice at the bottom, I can choose either for all apps or I can just do it on the home screen only. So right now, if I control my text size, that will only change it for things on my home screen. If I click here, this will do it for all apps. But if there's just one app I want to do, if I go back out of here and I open just a specific app on my phone, when I go back to Control Center and I do that again, you will see here at the bottom, it's just for that app for Wonderground. So all of a sudden, if I went over here to Wonderground and then I don't know, let's just pump that up and see what happens here. And now I go back here. Well, it's supposed to work. For some reason, it's not working. I guess it did make it bigger, maybe. Let's see here. Hold on. All of a sudden, it's not working. This always works, and I don't know why it's not working right now. I love it when I'm demonstrating and it's not working. And I've done this multiple times just to make sure it works well. And
Did you
That
do it with that app,
option
Glenn?
for all apps versus one app, does that require iOS 15? Because we don't see it on our iOS 14.8.
oh, yeah. Sorry, 15. I meant to say 15, not 14.
You were saying you were talking about features. in iOS 14.
Thank you.
Sorry. I think I'm getting feedback here.
Hmm.
No, we're good. Okay. Yeah, all of a sudden this is But anyway, it's trust me when I tell you in iOS 15 it works. I've sat here and done this, and of course now that I'm trying to show it to you guys, it's not wanting to cooperate. So let me try a
Try a different app.
here. Yeah, we'll just let's try that again. You'll notice it finds dark sky, and so I'm just gonna do that. Yeah, I mean, you can see that increased the text. Can you guys see? Did you notice that from before?
No. Make it all the
Exaggerate
way
it.
up or all the way down.
Go, yeah, exaggerate it. Okay.
No. This is
Where
really
it's just
weird.
mostly cloudy is pretty small.
Well, I'm telling you guys, it got so big that it wouldn't even fit on the screen. You could control it. I don't know why all of a sudden this is not working now. So I'm really bummed because I've done this many times and I even practiced with this on here to share my screen to show you guys.
Glenn, what apps did you practice with?
Just various ones.
It may be that some apps will not allow it.
It's possible.
Right.
But I like, for instance, I used Underground before. And it worked with that.
Can you show us where you found that at? I've got my phone and I'm at 15.1.
What would you like me to show you? Say that again.
Hey, it works on Google Maps.
Yeah, just show me how you brought that text size button up.
It works on Find a Word.
Trying not to have this feedback. Can you see what I was doing there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go into settings, control center, you can. And then once you go back to control center, you will see those buttons that you've added. And so
And control center is a pull down menu.
yeah,
the
you
right.
just pull down. You just pull down. Hold on, I'm unplugging here. I don't know why I'm having these problems. Well, I've got my iPhone unplugged now, so I don't know. Can you guys hear an echo still?
Yep.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna leave and come right back in.
Text size.
Okay. Do I have an echo now?
Yeah, it's still echoing.
Well, I don't know what's happened. I'm not connected with my phone anymore.
Glenn, when you tried this out earlier, were you on a Zoom meeting with someone?
No.
So that could be the difference.
Ron,
Yes,
mute everybody but Glenn.
I'm not sure where to do that. Well, I can just mute on everybody.
Seems like we're having an echo with everybody now.
You didn't, Ben.
Yeah, now it.
It stopped.
Oh,
Can you all hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ron, I don't know what you did there, but whatever you did
I
stopped all the echoing.
Steve said mute everybody, so I went through and muted everybody except you and me. So somebody was causing the feedback, but I'm not sure who. Oh well, that's life. Maybe we ask everybody stay muted until you want to say something, and then unmute yourself, talk, and ask questions or whatever. That sound good? Okay, everybody knows how to unmute yourself? Up
Yeah.
in the upper right-hand corner.
You can just press the space bar on the Mac.
All right. Well, I'm very bummed that my demonstration did not work. I don't know why. I've done this a lot of times, but the point I was trying to make in iOS 15 is that you can control the text like system-wide. You can do it just for your home screen, or you can do it on an app-by-app basis. And sorry that for some reason the demonstration's not working, because it's worked for me a bunch of times.
Glenn,
Glenn,
it
Yeah.
does work.
I'm sorry.
The tip does work. We
Okay.
did it on our phones, and
Okay.
it might
Glenn,
be that there's some
maybe
apps
because
where
you were
not
on, because you
I'd
were
like-
sharing over Zoom. Maybe that caused the problem.
Well, you know, Ron, I had opened Zoom up just by myself, and I had plugged in, did the exact same thing, and it was working just fine on the screen. So I don't know
Try shutting your phone down.
why. I'm not sure why it wasn't working, but anyway, you guys get the idea, I think, of what I was trying to
Oh,
get
for sure.
across to you, that you can
Anyway, Glenn,
enable that in your control center and control your text.
Glenn,
Glenn,
take comfort in the fact that you're not being fired. In Steve Jobs' day, when that happened, people got fired on the stage at the instant the failure occurred. So you're on good sides.
Well,
Okay, let's move on. Does anybody have a
like-
question for the
yeah,
for the group?
I'd like,
Glenn, you gave a good
Back.
working tip.
okay, well, thank you.
I'd like to
Probably
piggyback on
good.
Glenn.
Glenn,
I'd like to piggyback on Glenn. Can you hear me?
Yes, Donna.
Okay, the fact that he showed that control center, that has been increasingly important to me. And if I'm in an app or anywhere, I can pull it down on the from the upper left, right-hand side. And it gives me all those different apps, whatever I choose to have in my control center. And I have a lot of the ones Glenn was showing. Plus I have other accessibility ones, like changing background to classic invert and that sort of thing. And that's really handy to know where that is and pull it down so you don't have to go to the settings or anything.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
Donna, they've done a lot of work with accessibility stuff there.
In fact, they sent me a whole, I don't know how many pages, 12 pages about accessibility options. And I had explored most of them, but not all, because some of them I didn't really understand. But I have a whole lot of them in my control center. And to change things, I just have to pull it down on the right. I don't have to go to settings and all that sort of thing. I just wanted you to know it's very accessible without having to make that extra trip to get it.
Thanks, Donna. Any other questions out there?
I was just gonna
Doug?
suggest to Glenn that he reboot his phone. Shut it down, power it down, and start over, and it might clean it
Well,
up.
we don't have time for you to represent, so
No, I'm not suggesting he take up more time. I'm just saying that might fix his problem.
Yeah.
true. Sometimes it does. Any other questions out there? No, okay. Then it's sharing time. Could I start, because I'd like to write down what other people say, so I make a list of things we can put on our website. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share two things. They're Mac apps, and let me see, I gotta find what I got here. The first is, I don't know, can you see this little black window here?
Mm-hmm.
It's called Softorino YouTube Converter 2. And I've been using it for a long time, back when I was teaching in school, because I found a video that I wanted to show the kids. But sometimes, when you log in, you can't find the thing, or the network's slow or whatever. So I found that I could use this to download off mostly things off of YouTube. And so what you do, let me see, I can pull up this. Yeah, at the time it was free. It was, and I think it still is. You can get kind of a practice app. They now have added it into a whole bunch of other apps, and they want to charge you for it. But when I got it, it's free, and I think you can still get that version of it. But in any case, so I went to, what you do is you pick out a video. I picked this one because it's short. So, and I'm going to stop it right now. But what you do is you click on,
Previously on Peter Spruce Pooch, I tell you, stay away from this. Instead, you hacked a multi-million-dollar suit so you could sneak around behind my back doing the one thing I.
Okay, so that's a little video, right? Little Spider-Man video. You copy the URL, it'll be the top of your window, and paste it into this black box over here. When you do that, you click on convert and transfer, and it does that. Now, it's about I think it would end up being about 70 megabytes, something. It's only about 2 minutes long. So when you do that, you end up with this video. And notice it's 2 minutes and 4 seconds long, and it plays at whatever the original resolution was. And you've got the video that you can stick somewhere, use it, or show it to somebody and throw it away. So it's a really easy way to save videos off of anything that's got a URL that'll show you.
Where does it save it? Your choice.
Yeah, I think I've got it set to save to the desktop so that I can put it somewhere, or else I'll throw it away if I don't want to keep it. So that works pretty well. And it's called Softorino YouTube Converter 2. Now, let's see. Oops.
Question, Ron. Does it allow you to edit out advertising?
I do that. Let's see. I don't use that app for that, but I've got another one that's called, which I wasn't planning to show, but let's see if I find it here. Well, I'm not finding it quickly.
Is it a QuickTime movie after it saves it?
I'm sorry, I wasn't planning to answer that question, but here's.
Yeah, may I add something? When you see an ad in YouTube, it's usually a separate video from the actual video.
Oh, that's true. If an ad pops up over the YouTube video and you click on that URL, you're only getting the URL for that particular video, not the ad that goes with it.
So the ads won't be in the download that you use with YouTube.
No, it won't be in the download that you've gotten.
However, there's very few YouTube videos who actually put the ads in them. I'm a member of AOPA, Airplane Owners and Pilots Association. They do a weekly broadcast, and they will embed the ads inside of their own video. So if you paste that URL here in Converter 2, you would still see those ads. And I believe PBS NewsHour YouTube channel, they also put their own ads inside of their YouTube video, as opposed to using YouTube's advertising formula.
Okay, to answer the question about if you want to edit this video, this is a program called iSkySoft Video Converter Ultimate. And so I put that Iron Man video into it, and then I click here and I say I want to cut it. So now it's got the whole video across, and I can click on any portion of it. Let's say here, click cut, and chop out that section. So I hit delete button.
I wonder if it
Did you
edits-
And I
pay for
only
this
have that piece
program?
left. I'm sorry, what?
Did you have to pay for this program, the Video Converter Ultimate?
Honestly, I wasn't planning to show it to you, so I don't remember. You'd have to go look on their website. iSkysoft is the company. So I don't actually know.
iSkysoft is commercial software.
I probably did pay for it, but I've never had to pay for it again. And it's been working for a number of years, so it works. But in any case, once you do save that, then you click OK, you can save it, and you'll have the edited version, as it were. But that wasn't exactly what I was going to look at with you. The other program is totally different, but it's called, I can find it here, Swift Publisher. I don't know if any of you ever used that. But what I like about it is, I notice it's 20 bucks. Is you can make almost anything with it. I'm going to open up one of these things. This was our Christmas invite this year. And it's just a one-page newsletter, as it were, that we put into the Christmas cards to invite people to an open house on Christmas Day. And this is all little pictures and stuff that you can put in there, plus you can add the text. Notice on the side, you can pick all sorts of pictures and things to add in to whatever you're doing. So there's almost no limit to all the different little pieces you can put into it. And
Clip art, isn't it?
I'm sorry, what?
It's called clip art. I think when they, I
Well,
used to have a,
that's, all this clip art is built into the program.
yeah.
Yeah,
you
I think
put
you can
your
use
own-
other clip art too if you have it.
Can you
And
put your own photography in there?
well, yeah, let me see if I can find you one. My mother had her 90th birthday last summer. So that's a picture of her when she was a little kid, a baby actually. And I put that into there with a little frame around it. So yeah, you can put art, your own pictures into it and so on and so forth. But I find it really useful because you can create all sorts of things with it, including birthday cards and almost anything you want, using all the different templates that they have and such. So anyway, that's a real quick thing. This one, like I said, is $19.95 or $99 on their website. Okay, that's it for me.
Ron, where do you print your output?
I've got an Epson color printer. So I printed to that.
You do it at
Like
home.
at Christmas, I printed 25 of those pages. But you can also go to a printer and take one and have them copy it for you too. Any other questions about that? No? Okay, then.
I have an unrelated question.
Sure.
Who has a magic mouse? I have a
I
magic
do.
mouse question.
I do.
Okay, when you have the mouse down and you're dragging, when you move your finger up and down on the mouse, it's still scrollable. Is there
Yeah.
a function or a feature where you can turn off the scrolling ability while you're actually in the mouse down state?
I would think if you go into the settings for the mouse, you'll find if it's possible to do that, it'd be there.
Oh, okay.
I have one, I've never tried it, Tammy, so I have no idea. I'm sorry.
I
What
do
we're
find-
noticing is that when we're dragging something with the mouse and we're in the middle of a drag, sometimes because of slight movements of our, almost imperceptible movements of our finger while we're holding down the drag, causes the mouse to scroll up or down a little bit. If I'm dragging a mail message into a folder in the mail program, it'll sometimes shift up or down half a line, and it makes me go, oh, now, did I get it in the right folder, or did I drop it in the one above or the one below? And so I wish it wouldn't scroll while the mouse button, while it's being held in mouse down state.
Yeah, maybe there's a terminal command to turn off scrolling while the mouse button is down. somebody knows of one.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
aware of
Maybe
of a
try
terminal
like hold
command that
down
would do
the
that, but I think there
option
is,
button or something, and maybe that would do it.
I think
I've never
you
tried
might
it.
be able to control that in the scroll speed settings. I don't know of a terminal command that'll do it, although I'm sure there is one.
Do you ever find because of the magic mouse, sometimes I just, my
We
finger
weren't
tap
seeing a
on it?
scroll speed setting under our mouse settings when we were using the Magic Mouse.
Okay. So who would like to share next?
I got one. I do it?
Yes, Steve.
Yeah, okay. All right, let me set my screen here. Okay. There, everybody see that?
Oh, as long as I don't find my own, I'm pretty good, I guess.
I am one of those odd people, explorers, that actually find cemeteries interesting. The mother of a good friend of ours passed away a couple of weeks ago, and after the graveside committal, everybody standing around talking. I didn't know anybody, so I went for a walk, and I found the oldest part of the cemetery, and I just walked through it. I found a soldier that was killed during the Civil War in 1863, and I thought, wow, that's a fun, yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, years ago, I discovered a website called Find a Grave, and I have learned a ton of information from it since then.
Oh, wow.
Find a Grave has a free app for iOS. It's available from the App Store. And there's also a corresponding website that you can access from your computer. The website is a little easier to navigate, so most of this presentation will be about the web pages. This is what the homepage looks like. Find a Grave is an enormous database. It's compiled completely by volunteers. They just go through cemeteries, they snap pictures, they record names, dates, and when they can, they try to make familial collections. There are over 200 million records in Find a Grave. You can explore the database without creating an account, but if you think it's interesting, then click on register in the upper right corner, and creating an account is free. You get a little bit of advertising, but it is not intrusive. This is how you create your account. It asks for the usual info, your name, your email address, you have to create a password and so on. And you can even create a public name, which is like a pseudonym. It's on that line right there. Back on the home page, you'll see these 4 tabs across the top. A memorial is an entry for a deceased person. Cemeteries lets you find the web page for a particular cemetery, and from there you can look through all the graves that are recorded there. Famous lets you look for the graves of well-known people, and contribute is the way you add memorials to the database, and you can only do that with an account. So this is a link to the Find a Grave website and how you can register and sign in. So as a demonstration, I'm going to look for the memorial of a famous person. And let me see if I can change apps. Come on. There. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, you see Find a Grave?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to click on famous, and somebody give me the name of a famous person that we know where the grave is. Don't say somebody like
Julius Caesar or anything like that.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. Okay, let's try Abraham Lincoln. Go. Now, when you tap on this, you'll get a lot more than what you expect. You get lots of Lincolns, you'll get lots of Abrahams. You'll get people who were associated with Abraham Lincoln. But let's do a search. And right there on top is Abraham Lincoln. We got several. Noah Brooks, William Henry Johnson, those were associates. William Herndon was his law partner in Springfield. There's Mary Todd Lincoln. It just goes on and on and on. Sarah Bush Lincoln, that was his stepmother. Lincoln's own mother died when he was a small child, and his father remarried. And I guess Sarah Lincoln was just a wonderful woman, tremendous influence on him. So from there, we can click on the entry, and here is the memorial for Abraham Lincoln. It's got his date of birth and where he was born, the date of death, where he died, where he's buried on the north side of Springfield. And here his memorial ID. That's a fairly low number. That means that somebody entered it when the database was new. Most memorial IDs are like 8 or 9 digits. So, and here's some biographical information. You can go in and leave memorials, leave virtual flowers. And here are some pictures. This is the temporary vault that Lincoln's body was stored in until they built the big monument tomb that you see today. And there is a close-up of it. Lots more pictures. There's a portrait and some information, historical, what have you. Yeah, there you go. Just lots and lots of stuff. So now,
That little alcove looks like the one for George Washington. You know, same, a little similar.
Monument, yeah. They were real big on obelisks back in the 19th century.
I mean, that little temporary grave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, at Mount Vernon.
At Mount Vernon.
Kind of it.
Yeah, that looked like Mount Vernon, especially that one small one, chapel. Hillside.
Steve, I have a question.
Yes.
If people are cremated and the remains are scattered, do
It
you
will say
find
that.
that those are typically logged into a database like this, or are they just scattered and gone forever?
Probably gone.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
You're talking about the memorial. People, there are a lot of memorials on Find a Grave that are not for graves.
Right.
So that title, Find a Grave, don't take that too literally. It will say cremated ashes are in possession of the family, or ashes whereabouts unknown, or
Scattered in Monterey Bay.
Yeah, yeah. I have seen several of those. So
You can
I'm going to
also,
go ahead and sign in. Bear with me here. That's my login and my password.
you can also find cenotaph stones on there. That's stones that are put down for people who aren't buried there, but they're memorialized there.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I put one down for my nephew who died in July, and they added it to his mother's grave right by her headstone. It's a little small stone, so it does not compete with her stone. But
okay.
he has a Find a Grave memorial, and he will be found even though his ashes are in Monterey Bay.
Okay, good. At least there's a place you can go to and remember him. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Go ahead.
I use this too, and I had uploaded some pictures of. It was a good friend of our family, but he and my mother were an item for about 34 years, and he was a Marine on Iwo Jima, and he could face the Japanese, but my mom wanted to get married to him, but this is after her divorce from my dad. But he could face the Japanese, but he couldn't face walking down that aisle to the altar. He was a bachelor, but anyway, he donated his body to science, and we ended up with a mention here on findagrave.com, and in that way, I uploaded pictures of him in his Marine uniform and some family pictures and things. So it's a nice way to memorialize someone, but there is no grave. I mean, they donated his body, I think at St. Louis U, and then they cremate the bodies, and they have a spot at one of the cemeteries on the south side where all the cremated remains are placed. And so he really doesn't have his own spot, but one of his family members did create, I guess, a cenotaph where they just put a stone in a cemetery out close to them, and so they could have someplace they could go. But yeah, donated the body to science, and there is no body to honor.
Okay. Okay, I was going to show you what happens when you click on your name. This is me in the upper right corner. Click on that, and you've got a little pull-down menu. Click on Profile, and that is where you can write some biographical information about yourself, your family, family names, and what cemeteries you're interested in. Most of my family is buried in Pike in Calhoun County, Illinois, which is not too far north of here. Pull this down, and here is my account. I have an ID of my own. That is not my grave. That is my membership ID. And it says when I joined Find a Grave, December of 14. My email contact, and I have the option of displaying it for public. I have heard from distant cousins who are descended from common ancestors. So I have found that useful. And then, of course, you can sign out. Yeah. So back to the existing, oops, I want to go here. To find an existing memorial, you click on the Memorials tab and enter as much information as you can about the deceased person you're looking for. If you don't know the exact date of birth or death, you can make approximations. You can say born before 1900 or born around 1900, give or take 3 years or 10 years. You have some options in there. If you don't know the name of the cemetery, you can put in the name of the town or the county or even just the state. And you might get a lot of hits, but you can kind of go through them till you can find the one you want. Just the other day, I was thinking about the doctor in my little town. I went to grade school in Augusta, Illinois, population about 900. And when I was a kid, Irving Burnell from Chicago somehow ended up in Augusta, became the town doctor. He was a wonderful doctor. And I found his grave. And he probably saved my life. I had a lot of respiratory problems when I was a kid, and he pulled me through it. It was worth it. I've looked up teachers, classmates. My high school class reunion was a few years ago, and we were trying to track down as many of our classmates as we can find. And it occurred to me, well, maybe some of them have died. And sure enough, I found some of them on Find a Grave. So that was useful too. Let's see. Let me put in Dr. Burnell, Irving, B-U-R-N-E-L-L. And I think he was born the same year as my dad. See if that'll give me what I'm looking for. There he is. Woodlawn Cemetery, south of Augusta. And here is a memorial that I left. Right here, that is a stone. You can leave flowers or little symbols. I understand that it's a Jewish tradition to leave stones as a sign of respect to someone you want to remember. So that was one of the options. And I left a stone on his memorial. And you can write a little tribute to it. If your search results in no matches found, then it probably means that no one has entered that grave in the database yet. But out of 200 million, your chances are pretty good.
Hey, Steve?
Yeah.
Why don't you mention the fact that family members are linked if they have a grave site also on Find a Grave? Like if you
I'm
have
gonna-
a child
get to that.
here and you know the parent has Find a Grave, you can enter on the child, you can say, this is my father or my mother.
I'm going to get to that next.
Okay.
We'll do a little,
Because you can see the spouse right there.
yeah. Let's see. So I'm going to demonstrate something that I accomplished just within the last few months. I was trying to link my ancestry back to when John Maynard came over from England in the 1630s. And I ran into this dead end because the person who established one of the memorials would not link to his father because the location of the father's grave was unknown. And he was kind of hard-nosed about it. Well, there are a lot of memorials in Find a Grave that say grave location unknown. So I don't know why. But I finally convinced him to let him give me maintenance of the memorial. And the instant that he gave it to me, I established the link. So let me show you what I did here. This is my father. Born in 1918. Yeah. There's my mom and dad. That was taken around the time of their 60th wedding anniversary. That is buried where a lot of Maynards are buried, Green Pond Cemetery in the southeast corner of Pike County, Illinois. I tell you, that is one of the nicest little country cemeteries you'll ever see. They really take good care of it. Somebody named Candace Smith. I have no idea who she is, but she added a picture of my dad from World War II. That was when he was stationed in England, when he was in the Army Air Corps. And here's a picture of my mom and dad's headstone. I added that myself. Down here, you got family members. Since my sister and I are both living, there are no children recorded, but there's my mom, there's my grandparents, and this is my dad's brother. He died in a plane crash in Africa in 1969. So let me get on with my ancestry here. I'll go to Lee Maynard, my grandpa and grandma. Here's my grandfather's father, William Henry Maynard. His father, Charles Henry Maynard. He was married 3 times, had children by all 3 wives, and I'm descended from the second wife. Here are his parents. They came from upstate New York. They are the reason that we are in the Midwest now. He was a veteran of the War of 1812, and he was awarded a military land tract in Illinois. And he and his wife came out and settled it. It's in northern Calhoun County. His wife was Lucretia Boynton Maynard, and according to oral tradition, she was Jewish. I can find nothing about her family. She came from the area of Rensselaer, New York, and I have done as many searches as I can. I cannot find any connection there. So that branch of my family tree is a dead end. So Charles's father was Eli, and his mother was Mirab. They died within 3 weeks of each other, so it was probably a result of an epidemic. They're buried in Buffalo, New York. His father is Malachi Maynard. He was a Minuteman. Revolutionary War, and I have been to his grave. It's up on the side of a hill overlooking Conway, Massachusetts. And here is where I ran into the problem. Ebenezer Maynard. Burial details unknown, right there. But once I was able to take over maintenance of his memorial, then I could proceed on to his father, David Maynard, his father, John Maynard Jr., his father, John Maynard Sr., and father and son came over from England in the 1630s. There's no record of him bringing a wife, so we assume that she died in England. And that's as far as I can get. He came from the area around Cambridge, England, and someday I hope to tap into some historical records, church records or whatever, and find out if I can go back any further. So
Okay. Good.
that is Find a Grave. I have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I encourage you, give it a look. And how do I get out of this now?
Grave sites and cemeteries are kind of interesting for me too. I had some relatives that were claiming to be one age, and I went through the cemetery records here in St. Louis and found that their father had been buried 10 or 20 years before they said they were born. So I was like, I said, they never wanted to tell their ages, but it's kind of interesting. They weren't freezing eggs back then in 1902.
I have a very quick app to tell you about. And just basically, I'm going to suggest you look it up. It's called Capto. I use it all day, every day. It's a very powerful database, screen capture database. And even during this meeting, I've been capturing screens so I wouldn't have to write stuff down. And I've never shared a screen before, but I'm gonna try it right now, see if I can do that.
Doug, I have Capto and I've used it too.
Yeah, here's.
How do you spell it?
CAPTO.
Capto, yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Let me open it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Are you seeing anything besides me?
Yeah, we're seeing like
screen.
tools or something.
Tools. Are you sharing it from your computer or your phone?
I'm trying computer. I'll capture full screen. Okay, now do you see it?
Yeah.
Captured myself.
But we've got terrible feedback.
Is that my telephone doing that?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway, I'm just going to show you one more picture. See, this is what I captured earlier. There. And it's just a powerful database. And so all day long, you could just capture stuff and you don't have to keep it very long. But if you want to, you can put a note, tag it so that you can find it again. And I do a lot of research on places to go on our motorhome, RV. And so I'll tag something RVD MO or RVD OK or RVD IL for Illinois. And that way I can find on that, and all the things that I'm interested in will pop up in a row, and or I can do it, look at it, view it different ways. And this is a one-time purchase. It's not a subscription. So you buy it, you got it. And I just recommend that everybody go look it up, and you'll be seduced by it, in my opinion, if you use it. So that's it. Capto.
Where does it save? Where does it save the screen captures?
It saves them in the Capto program application. And am I still sharing the screen? Can you see these thumbnails across the bottom?
Yes.
Right now, I've probably got thousands of them, and I could scroll through them, or I could use this. Let me get Capto. I can't get it to move, so I must be. Anyway, you can scroll through it this way, but you can also scroll through it with a thing like like where we see everybody on the screen at once, where you see a lot of them at once, and smaller and bigger. See, you can. I cannot figure out how to do this. Sure. Oh, there it is. Okay, let me see if I can get it to a. No, I'm not seeing on his what I usually see. Usually I see a little thing up here with a whole lot of little boxes, just like this box that's on the, for us to see everybody at once on the Zoom meeting. And then you'll see a lot of them, and you can scroll and see, look at hundreds of them at a time almost. I mean, you could shrink it down so you had thumbnails all over the screen, and then you could pick one to look at or not. And you can do this, like this is text. Or if you want to put an arrow to something, you can do that. It's a very powerful program, and it's cheap. I can't remember what it was, but it was maybe like $50 or something. And it's not a subscription, so you're done.
On the Mac App Store, it's $27.
27? I couldn't remember. I've had it so long. See, I had it when it had a different name, Voila. And then they changed the name to Capto. And I don't think I had to buy it again. I can't remember now, but anyway, I'm gonna stop sharing. So that's the whole deal. Just look it up.
Thanks,
Google
Doug.
it. Google it and you'll like it, I think.
I remember Voila was a screen recorder that could record the motion on your screen. Does Capto also do that?
It's the same thing as Voila. It's just the next generation, and it does everything that you're talking about. It does all the things that Voila did. I don't know.
It'll record the screen. It'll capture video for you.
Right. Yeah. I don't usually do that, so I don't think to mention it, but all day long, every day, I'm using that. So that's it.
Okay. Anybody else like something to share?
I want to mention a couple of apps. Don't really have a presentation per se, but I just want to make a brief mention of a few things. Find Any File is a free app that has I think a shareware donation to remove a nag notice, but you can search for files based upon conditions like strings in the file names, or based upon dates, or having certain finder tags and stuff like that. And it doesn't rely on the Spotlight indexes, and that therefore even if Spotlight hasn't completely indexed your hard drive or is inaccurate for any reason, Find Any File seems to find things when you're just looking for certain metadata attributes, file names, extensions, dates, and things like that. And
yeah, the Spotlight is not accurate. If you use only the Spotlight and don't use Find Any File, there might be a file on your computer by the name of Steve, for example. Say Steve gave a presentation and I wrote notes about Steve's presentation and named it Steve. And then I do a find for Steve. Spotlight might not find the file name Steve because it wasn't indexed.
I'm going to put a link into the chat for where you can get this app. It's a website, not the App Store. And another app I want to briefly mention is Visual Differ, which is available in the App Store for a few hours or so. And that you can compare two folders based upon file sizes, file dates, file names. And like if you're trying to sync two different directories, it's useful for that. It seems to display the differences in a color-coded manner. And so that is on the App Store, the Mac App Store, Visual Differ.
Visual what?
Visual Differ is found on the App Store.
And what is that for?
Yeah, we'll put it in the chat.
But what is it for?
For comparing two directories of files to see if you have one, if you're intending one copy to be a mirror of another, and you want to verify that all of the files are in the same place in both directory trees, like if you're updating a backup or something like that.
Okay.
So I just want to make a quick mention of those two.
Easy Find is a program people should. look
Easy
at.
Find is an alternative to Find Any File.
It's not what?
Is an alternative to Find Any File.
Yeah, alternative, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that we have experience with Find Any File. And we know that other users would like it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else have an app to share?
I've got one, but if somebody else wants to, who hasn't had a chance yet tonight, I'll let them go. I've actually got a list of them because I didn't know how many people would bring them. So I've got one I'll share. It's basically maintenance for your Mac. It's not a free app by any stretch of the imagination, but it's called Clean My Mac X. And you can download it and try it out for free. There's a little trial period. I forget how long it is. It might be a week or two. But for one Mac, it's $34.99. I have it for both my wife and I, so I pay $54 for it.
Is that subscription?
It is, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember now. It is, yes, for a 1-year subscription.
Yeah.
So it's not cheap, but I think it does a real nice job of helping keep my Mac clean and optimized. I will show you what it looks like here. Let's see. Is this cutting off? I believe that looks like it's cutting off here.
Yeah, on the left side.
Yep, let's try this again. Hold on. I'm gonna get it on my desktop and then I will just share my desktop with you guys. All right, are you seeing?
Yeah.
Clean My
I see
Mac
the whole
now?
thing now. Yeah.
Okay. So basically it does a scan of your system. And so like right now it wants me to scan. So for instance, if I let it scan, it's looking to clean up like unneeded files. So it's finding like 12.6 gigabytes of stuff that can be cleaned. It's looking for any kind of, as it says, potential threats there. And then it's going to also look at like the speed of my computer. So I'm going to let this run for a second. And then I'm going to pull up while that's going on.
Glenn, have you used the cleanup portion and dumped out the stuff that it says you don't need?
Oh, yeah. I do it once a week.
Okay.
So this is by MacPaw. And I'm going to take you here to the website while it's running in the background. So you can run these optimization tools, like I said, and then when it's done, it'll have me quit certain apps like my browsers and stuff like that to sort of run that cleanup and everything. And usually it doesn't take me too long to do that. And then also it can look to optimize stuff. It can look if you want to check for like malware or, things like that. It can, like it says, it's got privacy things that can help you manage that. It can also map your drive and show you like where your space is being taken up. It can also go through, and if you want to uninstall apps, because a lot of times people just take apps and just drag them to the trash. Well, there's a lot of associated files. It's got an uninstaller that'll go through and do, a good job of that. It can also go through and tell you in one glance all the apps that need updating to do that. So it's got a lot of different features on it, and it's just for optimizing, and that's telling me it's done. Optimizing your Mac. So it's telling me it's got a little cleanup there, and they can, just optimize performance. So I will tell it to run. It wants to quit a few things there while it's doing, and you can see what it's doing right now. Like it's cleaning up that space. It's looking to clean up like unneeded attachments, also flush out, like the cache and free up some RAM and things like that. That sometimes just get, gummed up in the process of doing all kinds of different things. And so I run this once a week and it'll do that. Oh, I don't want that. Sorry. And so, like I'll occasionally do it once a week, but I'll sometimes run the malware scan just to make sure that there's nothing it's finding in there. It can also look and look at things that are leaving traces that maybe my privacy is sort of being leaked there somewhere. I can look into some of that stuff. Other things that let's see. Let's see here. Right now I'm letting it build. Hopefully it'll do this very quickly. You can see it going through. It's building a storage map of my drive. And usually it does this fairly quickly. Come on. Almost there. It gives you a nice snapshot of where is my space being taken up. And so, if I want to go over here to my applications and I can delve, further into here and see it, it'll, talk to you about all kinds of stuff. And so I kind of like that just to find that stuff in a snapshot. So, it can go through and it can find all, large and old files that you haven't been using that maybe you can get rid of. It can also, their shredder is supposed to be able to get rid of data files like permanently. I don't know if there's any such thing as totally permanently, but so it just does a lot of optimization stuff of your system. And like I said, I've got it set to alert me every 7 days. It'll tell me, hey, it's time to run this. And, I run that. And so it's just an app that I really like. And just to kind of help keep things running smoothly. And, it's not cheap. Like I said, I'm paying $54 a year for both my wife and I for our Macs, but I feel like it does some nice processes for me. So again, that's Clean My Mac X.
And that's only for OS, not iOS.
Yes.
Did you say you had something else, Glenn, to show?
I've got a ton of stuff, but let's see. Anybody want a game? How about a game? We'll liven things up here a little bit. Well, I don't know about that, but it's a game that my 6-year-old is crazy about. And I'm going to share this with you.
That's for us.
Yeah. All right. Can you guys all see my phone there?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go over here. My 6-year-old is just fascinated with space. And so I've got some different space things that we love to do. I've got 3 or 4 cool things, but I'll show you this one. He spent an hour just sitting there on his iPad building a rocket. It's called Space Flight Simulator. And I'm going to kind of just show you here. Let's build a rocket here. So I'm going to take this. Let's see. Let's kind of do this real quick here. I'm building a multi-stage rocket. Gonna put my capsule on there, got my heat shield, okay. And
While
we're
you're
gonna try
building
to-
that, Glenn, does it ever tell you, no, if you put that there, you're gonna blow it up as soon as you hit the go button?
Well, what it will tell you, hold on, let me go back here. Go to the bottom, it'll give me like my mass and my thrust to weight ratio. And so obviously the greater the ratio, the more thrust that you have. All right, so now let's try to launch it. By the way, if I haven't built it right, it'll crash on the pad. So I'm going to turn my engine on, and I'm going to hit this. Something's wrong because my engine is not coming on. So I got to go back to the drawing pad here. Hold on a second. Let's start simpler. Let's just do this just so I can show you what it looks like. I'm just going to go up and I'm going to come back down, just a little suborbital flight for you if I can get this to work. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. All right, and there she goes. I am taking off here, pretty quick velocity. And I can switch to my map and I can see me launching here. I'm up to almost 5,000 meters. So I'm going to start to change my angle a little bit. And you can start to see here. Oh, I'm getting too hot because I'm veering off a little bit. And we're going to throttle back here. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to separate my first stage. I'm doing this pretty quickly. And now I'm going to be coming back down, but I got pretty high pretty quick. But you can see it's going to want to take me up in that parabola all the way up there on my arc because my velocity is still going. So let me see if it'll. There we go. Now I'm coming back down. I've just sped this up. I better slow down here a little bit. And I'm coming down. I'm still at like, yep, that's my capsule coming back down. You guys can see I'm still at an altitude of like 24 kilometers. And so as I come back down, and by the way, they have missions here. You can do suborbital things. You can get into orbit. You can go to the moon, you can go to Mars, you can have multi-stage rockets, etc. I'm getting a lot of heat here. Let's hope I don't burn up. It will not let me deploy my chute yet.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Hold on, I got to get to 2,500 meters. But anyway, you can do all these different missions, and it really is using like a lot of physics and of the rocket and stuff to do them successfully. So let's see, I'm at 3,000 meters. I can deploy my chute under 2,500 meters. All right, let's pop that chute out. Start slowing me down here. My son and I have successfully done a lot of suborbital and orbital missions. I crashed us trying to land on the moon. He was very angry with me because we got all the way to the moon and then I crashed us. But you've got to use you've got a slingshot and use the gravity, the earth. It's a pretty, involved little game. And normally I don't play on my phone. We play on the iPad because it's bigger. But so you can see me coming down here.
Glenn, you just got to tell him Neil Armstrong I ain't.
Oh, he knows that. And by the way, he can tell you all the astronauts for all the Apollo missions. So he is really into all of this. And I found this and now he loves playing with this. So you can see as I come down here, my chute should widen if everything goes right. And slow my velocity down as I'm down to about 700 meters here. So it's a fun game, but it's not easy. And, we've looked at other people's YouTube videos of this stuff to kind of figure out how to, do these more involved missions. And we've had like 4 and 5 stage rockets and, okay, my chute, there we go. Now my chute is finally slowing my velocity down. And so anyway, I don't know if you grew up, all of you grew up in the space age, and if you were into you know, the whole space program. It's kind of cool. You can actually buy in this game. They have expansion packs and all kinds of stuff in here that, you know, is really cool. Why did that stop?
Stop.
What was the name of this game again?
By the way, it stopped because my phone went to sleep. Hold on here. I'll show you what it's called in a second as soon as it lands. But it's been fun. Up there's the ground coming in, and I should successfully plunk down here. Boom. And so I can recover, and it'll show you like your achievements, and then, you know, I can build a new rocket or whatever. So anyway, that is called Space Flight Simulator. And by the way, while I'm here showing you my screen real quick, there is another one that is a great little program called Go Sky Watch. If any of you are into looking at, you know, the stars and planets and stuff, Go Sky Watch is a really cool little program. I can't see much here in my basement, but if you were actually outside, you could point this at the sky and it would find, like, you can find celestial objects. Like, I know that something's a planet out there. I will point it at and angle it, and it'll find it in its little crosshairs, and it'll tell me that's, you know, Jupiter I'm seeing, or it'll tell me what objects in the sky I'm seeing. So I can't really demonstrate it. You can see how it turns here. And if I find, it's hard to do this and get it in the screen. Okay, there it's finding, that would be Pluto. So like if I were actually up looking at the sky, I mean, I'm not going to see it in my basement, but you know, I could find these, where these things are, and see what I see in the sky, and it's pointing me in the right direction. So if you're somebody who's a sky watcher, I highly recommend this app. It's Go Sky Watch.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Does anybody else have something like to share?
Not as cool as that.
What's that, Alan?
Not as cool as that.
You keep like muting on and off, so I'm only hearing like a word or so.
I said it's not as cool as that. I do have my grandson is using a 3D printer we were going to show maybe next month. And I thought I'd demo that for us then. But
you know, I think it's fun when we did this a couple of years ago where we share apps, because there's just so much out there that, you know, none of us know all of this stuff. You know, there's always stuff that other people are using that are really cool things. And I think, like, especially every year or two goes by, there's always brand new stuff out there. I mean, you know, I just have so many apps between my Mac and my iOS devices that are, you know, or even things like, you know, like Steve was showing us, you know, with web-based kind of applications and things. There's, I don't know about you guys if you enjoy this stuff, but I really enjoy, I know the last time we did this, we were actually all together at Parkway Central a couple of years ago. But, you know, there's just so many things out there. I really enjoy just seeing the kind of things that people are using. And sometimes I think we share stuff and come across things, and it's like, you know, I know last time we did this, we did a few different weather apps. I know Steve shared one and Tammy shared one, you know, and that was on my list of stuff that I have apps that, you know, that I was going to show you guys. I actually use something called Forecast Bar on my Mac, and actually on my iOS devices that I love. But, I just think it's neat when we do this. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys all enjoy this?
Yeah, I've already found a couple that I'm going to look at.
Yeah, I feel like this is something we could do every, you know, year or two, and always have new things to throw out there that, you know, people would find interest in.
I'd like to give a quick plug for an app called ISS Spotter, International Space Station.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every night, it'll tell you, brings up a map, tells you where the space station is at any given moment, and you can project according to your latitude and longitude where it will be visible where you are. It's kind of neat. we've gone out on our back deck, turned out the lights, and we've watched the space station pass overhead several times.
Really?
That's
Yeah,
good.
every once in a while I see that in the paper or on some
What's the
news
name?
report, but it's usually like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go outside then.
What's the name of that again?
ISS spotter.
Spotter.
You
Steve,
can
let
also
me ask you a
have
very
it send you
subjective
alert.
question about that. A very subjective question. How dim or how bright is the station when you're able to see it?
When it's reflecting sunlight, it's very bright. Now, we watched it pass overhead. It was probably within an hour after sundown. The sun was just below the horizon, and it passed almost directly overhead, and I watched it until it entered the Earth's shadow, and then it disappeared.
Cool. Can you make
Oh,
out
you
any
can-
form of it, or it just looks like a
No,
star moving over?
Yeah, it just looks like a bright star.
Okay.
You can set alerts too. You can tell it to let you know
Oh,
in
cool.
advance when space station is going to be visible.
Have you
Steve,
tried
I've
using- I'm sorry.
I say I always wanted to do that, but using a telescope to try to, track it through.
I think you need binoculars or something.
Yeah, it moves pretty fast. You'd have a hard time with a telescope tracking it. If you didn't know better, you'd think it was an airplane flying overhead. It goes that fast.
Yeah, probably right. Anybody else have something I want to share?
A quick plug for an app called Cloud Mounter. The app allows you to mount certain cloud services to appear like a network drive in your Finder. You can make a Dropbox folder appear as a full network drive in your Finder instead of using Dropbox's own software to insist on syncing and taking up space on your Mac's hard drive to duplicate the data. This will mount the cloud storage like a network drive, and it can work with things like Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft's OneDrive, and other kinds of things, FTP servers, WebDAV servers, and various types of cloud storages.
Paste the link in the chat.
I will put a link in the chat for where that software can be obtained.
Is that the right link?
Yeah. So it's Cloud Mounter. It's a
And
commercial program. It's not free.
And you use it on your Mac, not your iPad. Oh, there is something similar for the iPad though. What was it
That's
called?
got, there's an app in the App Store called FE File Explorer that can mount cloud storages, and that is for iOS. It's a different product, different people, but it has a similar purpose, Cloud Mounter.
You can see into your cloud spaces with
And
it.
if you're on your home network, you can see into your own Macs too. Like if you're on your LAN with Wi-Fi with your iPad or iPhone, you can go rummaging into the files on your Macintosh as well as files in Dropbox and Google Drive and the like. That's FE File Explorer.
Does that open you to any danger of somebody else getting into your stuff?
No, the Cloud Mounter on the computer and FE File Explorer both require you to use your credentials to connect to the cloud services. And for seeing the files on your Mac, I was talking about when you're at home on your LAN through the Wi-Fi.
Okay, anything else to share?
I'll share one last thing here.
Okay,
Because
go
I
ahead.
mentioned in passing, it's a weather app. It's called Forecast Bar. And I've got this up on my menu bar of my Mac as well as on my phone and my watch. Now, it's subscription based. It depends on what you want to, what level of subscription. Since I'm really into weather, I used quite a bit of it. So you guys can see here, I'm kind of taking you see the website back here, Forecast Bar. And I've got it synced between my computer and my iOS devices. Now, I originally, on my, can you guys see my menu bar up here at the top?
Yeah.
Yes.
So right here where you see that 40 degrees, this is where I originally started using it on my Mac. I just liked having it a press of a button without having to go search all the weather stuff I wanted. And I get, you know, some nice detail in here. And if I click this, I can also see some additional stuff, and you can change the look and feel of all this, but I can also see the hourly thing. I can pull up even like, you know, let's say Saturday calling for snow. You know, right now you can see what, you know, we're looking at ahead. So I love that I have all this stuff right at my fingertips just on my Mac when I click it. And, you know, you can do quite a bit of customization with it. I'm pulling my weather source from Dark Sky. My radar provider when I want it is from Windy. And so you can change the look and feel on a lot of stuff. And then, you know, my subscription, I've got it to update every 15 minutes and I get alerts. And I'm paying on the Mac, I think it's $9.99, I believe it is.
$9.99 a month.
Per year, yeah. And that gets me 15-minute updates. But then you have to buy a separate subscription for iOS, and then I have it sync and alert me. Now, as you guys know, I do a lot of coaching, so I want to know what the weather is. But you can see kind of here, I'm on their website, what it looks like on the watch and on the, you know, the phone. You know, you can also, I love their time machine feature on it. I'm trying to remember. Let's see here. I can pick a date. So let's see, let's go back. I don't know, 1/11/2000. And now it's telling me what it was on January 11th, 2000, what the weather was. So I think that's kind of neat that you can do that. You know, the more bigger subscription you buy, the more stuff you kind of can get. And I just think I really like it. You can see what it looks like on the iPad there. I found that I have started to use this quite a bit and some of the features on there. So that's called Forecast Bar.
What does it cost?
Well, it depends on what level of detail you want. So the level I've got it set at on my Mac, I pay $9.99 a year. That gives, and you saw kind of the stuff I was getting, it gives me updates, you know, I get updates every 15 minutes and it shows me on here. I mean, it's showing here by the hour, but it depends on the level of update you want, how often you want updates, and there's some other things as well. But if you go to forecastbar.com, you can see more details about it and learn more about it. If I remember correctly, there was kind of a free thing with it that you could download and do without subscription. You just didn't get some of the detailed stuff.
I use a weather app. It's called Forensius. And it's not in the App Store. I think you have to go to the website. It also appears in your bar, and you can pull it down and you can get you know, like a 5-day forecast and what the current weather is like and so on and so forth. It doesn't have as much as the one you described, but I think it's free.
Okay. I just love the ability to have something up on your menu. Just click it once and you're there.
I use a weather app on Safari. It's called W Underground. It gives a 10-day forecast and it shows it as a graph. Very nice.
Yeah, I like Weather Underground stuff.
You can go straight to Dark Sky too, and that's really good. It's got the same thing and everything. Dark Sky.
We're getting feedback from somebody.
Really bad.
Yeah, it's hard to understand.
I've got a question that's not app related. Can I introduce it here?
Sure.
I've been messing around recently a lot with television, and I found a product that I really like. It's by Fire TV. It's called Recast. So it's a recording device, then you can get over-the-air broadcast on it. The thing that I'm interested in is I'm also using some audio equipment with this, and I'm using headphones and loudspeakers. And they're connecting these devices with optical cable. And I was wondering, Charlie, can you make any kind of a comment on what the use of optical cables are with computers today?
I don't know if I can. I mean, are we talking about just the Ethernet to fiber, or?
Well, they're fiber cables that are taking the place of multiple cables that I would have connected a loudspeaker on my Macintosh with, you know, wiring. But now they're using these optical cables. And I wondered if it has any relationship to what we're doing with Macintosh computers.
Gosh, I mean, most, I mean, I just got an iMac here, and of course, I mean, there's no I didn't see any optical options when I was ordering the computer, you know. I mean, and it's kind of interesting that, of course, fiber is so nice because the bandwidth's so big. You can do so much with it.
Right.
And I mean, no, I mean, in terms of computers, the only thing I see fiber with for my stuff is on the network. I mean, if you get fiber into your house, and Lord knows you can really get some great speed out of it.
Yeah, well, I was talking to the guys who were installing the fiber out under the street outside, but I'm talking about locally in my own network.
Running fiber in your house?
Well, yes. No, I'm not running it in my house, but I'm running it between components, like recorders and
right,
loudspeakers and stuff like that. I pick up time if we're on the wrong subject.
I mean, I mean, my gosh, what is it? My sound system. We have a large screen TV and a sound system,
right,
on my back porch, and or I guess a rec room, I guess you call it. Anyway, and the sound between the components basically it's fibered.
Really?
And I mean, it works well. I knock on wood, I haven't had any problem with it. But in terms of, what can you do with it? I mean, it's been flawless. I haven't had any problem with it. So and the quality is excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, any other sharing?
Yeah.
Well, I did want to, we were talking about, all of the space flight simulators and Go Skywatch. I used to work at the planetarium many years ago. I was working there when we landed on the moon. I was out of high school, in college, and it was a neat place to work. And you got to, when we'd have exhibits from NASA, and the people from NASA had come in, and they'd have little goodies they'd give to us, stuff from some of the earlier space flights. They'd take nuts and bolts off of some of the spacecraft and melt it down and make commemorative coins. And they'd say metal from this spacecraft, went to the moon, etc. And it was kind of cool. I mean, they were, some of them were pretty hard drinkers too, which was different. But yeah, it was an interesting place to work. They said we had a good relationship with NASA, and they bring the exhibits in, and they'd fund it, which was nice. I mean, because the city at that time was running it. That was before the Science Center took it over, and they never had any money. They were always getting their budgets cut. So yeah. Telescopes and optics, that was neat stuff. fact, the 10th anniversary of landing on the moon, they brought William Shatner to St. Louis. I don't know how in the world they talked him into coming. But did you see the response? The response that man had? It's 90 when he came out of that spacecraft that they launched. Was it Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, fired them up into space, and it sure impressed him. Sure impressed him. I mean, Lord knows. I mean, he's beaten the Klingons, and Lord knows the Romulans.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's see. Oh,
Well, I wondered about, anybody know
Nine.
about Scanner Pro?
say it again.
Scanner Pro?
Scanner Pro. What are we talking about?
Well, it's an
Pro- this is
application
an
on
app?
your phone that will convert documents on your table to PDFs.
Oh,
It's a much better job than the one that's built into Notes.
Ooh.
Does file straightening and stores your files.
Scanner Pro. All right.
It's I don't know that I can demonstrate it here. I could show, it just has great file handling capabilities. I don't have to go to a scanner anymore.
so Alan, is it something you scan a document and it
Yes,
makes a PDF out of it?
You scan a document, makes a PDF. Those multiple page documents, you can add pages into a PDF that you're working with. You can rescan certain pages if they don't look quite good.
So it's kind of an OCR program?
Well, it doesn't do OCR, although there are add-ons that will do OCR.
Okay.
But this one's free, and it keeps its own files in a separate folder on your iCloud drive. So it works well. I could show you the logo of it, but you could look it up, just Scanner Pro. And the other thing I've been using that really doesn't make a lot of sense is called RoomScan Lido. And it uses the Lido that's built into your cameras now. And you just hold it up against a wall and it scans the opposite wall and tells you how far it is. And then it creates a graph of your room or your house as you go around your house. And you can prepare like a CAD of your house by just putting your phone against one wall and measuring against the other wall.
Sounds cool.
I don't, I mean,
What's that called again?
well, I can actually, I think I can scan this. I took your advice and have connected my phone to the, let's see if I can scan. No, I don't see how to scan my phone on here. Oh, I
Go
phone
to
via
share
cable.
screen, Alan, go to share screen. And when you go to share screen,
It's
one
at
of
the
your
top.
options will be iPhone, iPad via cable.
All right, I clicked on that.
Yeah, that's it.
All
Where's
right,
your phone?
you see Find a Grave at the top? I do that
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
But the room scan things. Oh, I was just on this just a minute ago. Why doesn't purchase was canceled?
It's the curse of sharing, Alan. As soon as you put it out there and share it, whatever can go wrong will go
I
wrong.
was just had this open before I did this just a second ago.
So it's called Room Scan LiDAR?
Room Scan LiDAR, and it uses what LiDAR is. It's it's like lasers that go out and scans and gets a reflection from the across the room. And don't know that I can. Well, let me throw that away and try logging in again. Okay, here's an example floor plan. And so you can just say, and it prepares something like this. You say this is 21 feet, this is whatever, and it's 6 feet across, and you can add doors. You don't necessarily have to add furniture, but you've got some basic stuff that you could add just so you know what the rooms are. And you can have different floors.
Which phones have the ability to do this kind of scanning?
I think the 12s and 13s, I don't think the 11s had that.
Okay, so it has to be a fairly new phone.
Fairly new phone. But you just, and you go from one room, and then you put a door in, and then you step through that door and you add another room on there. And if you have, you know, most bathrooms, like I got back-to-back bathrooms, well, there's like 16 inches between the bathrooms for the plumbing in between. So you don't really know that until you have to leave room for it. I don't know. But if I go back here, I have started my house a little bit.
I just looked up, Alan, you've got to have, it's got to be a 12 or newer. You've got to have iPhone 12 or newer to be able to use it.
Yeah. Well, it's just the new capabilities built into the phones are just amazing.
Yeah, I use a similar app called Magic Plan that I've used for a while, but I don't have I've got an 11, so I can't, you know, take use of the LiDAR thing.
You have an 11? I don't believe that.
It is true.
I have a 10.
I spent all my money on this MacBook Pro, you know, I have to wait for the phone.
Well, I just thought that was something that's unusual.
No, it's cool. I think it's neat. Like I said, I use something called Magic Plan. And when we moved into our house, I came and had a whole layout before we ever moved in, so I could then plan everything out before we moved in.
See my grandson's toy he made? That's printed.
Huh.
Ah. Trying to get it to run again. Now you can possibly make that, except they have these patterns and he just selects a pattern and starts printing. It took about 8 hours or 10 hours to print that. And he's got some down here that he's printed.
Huh.
I think it's fucking amazing.
Are the materials expensive that you have to put into the printer?
If you get a kilogram of the thread or whatever they say they use, it's by $20 a kilogram. So this doesn't take very much plastic at all. So maybe a dollar's worth or 50 cents worth of that, but it takes a bunch of time. And I think this is just great for his age. He's 12. Oh, here's what I've been doing. My son had a tree fall down. Well, I'm going to stop sharing again. This is not.
Yeah, we're a little off topic.
Off topic. Yes, that's why I got to go do it again tomorrow. He had a tree fall down, and so we're there.
Okay, guys, we're at almost 9 o'clock. So,
Ron, I
yes.
know that we were going to do some brainstorming about kind of the, you know, the club and the future and stuff like that. But like you said, we sort of run out of time. Maybe we could kind of push that back for next month.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and I would love to fill people in. I can do this next month. I actually had a Zoom meeting with the president from the Cap Mac down in Austin last night, their Mac user group down there, and I've been talking to other people. So maybe that's something that we can just